When you're accused of a crime, there's not a lot of things that are actually in your control. You can't control the officer's decision to have arrested you. You can't control what the judge sets your bond at. You can't control when you have court or who your judge is. But the one thing that you can control is who you hire to represent you in court. That is a constitutional protection. That is your saving grace, is that you do have control of who goes to court with you. That's why it's so important at that point to hire a good criminal defense team. Don't look for a personal injury lawyer that does some criminal defense on the side. Don't look for a family law lawyer that looks to make a little money by doing some DWIs or things like that. It's the one thing you can control in this process. So take control of that. Hire a good criminal defense attorney that knows what they're doing, that works in those courts, and then follow their advice. That's how you're going to get the best possible outcome in a situation that is largely out of your control. One of the benefits of hiring a criminal defense attorney that only practices criminal defense is that they're constantly staying updated and trained on the constantly changing criminal defense laws here in Texas. Every legislative section, all these new laws come out and they change everything and they update everything. Attorneys that are kind of splitting their time between personal injury and criminal defense, they're not always up to date on all the changes that happen every year in the laws. A criminal defense focused firm, from the paralegals to the support staff to the interns to the lead attorneys, they're going to know about those changes and they're going to be able to use them effectively in your defenses. The second big thing about criminal defense firms that kind of benefit over general practitioners is that because they're practicing in those courts all the time, they get to know the judges, they get to know the processes, they get to know the procedures, they get to know which way judges rule in certain situations. I've seen lawyers from out of county or non-practice areas come into courts and make these arguments to judges that we, because we're in court every day, we know that judge is going to give no weight to. You want to hire attorneys that are familiar with the courts, they're familiar with the judges, how they rule, and the only way to do that is by hiring attorneys that are actually practicing criminal defense day in and day out.